Have you ever wondered why someone would choose to become a runaway in a foreign land, knowing they might lose everything? Today, we want to show you that behind the label of runaway is a real human struggle for basic equality. Let's dive into the story.
Imagine leaving your home and family for years, hoping to build a better future, only to find yourself trapped in a situation with no way out. This is the story of Xiaohui, a Vietnamese migrant worker in Taiwan. Like many others, she came to work as a domestic caregiver. For 3 years, she worked without a single day off. Not only did she care for the elderly, but she was also forced to handle endless housework and help with the employer's business, tasks far from beyond her contracts. In Taiwan, strict laws made it nearly impossible for migrant workers to change employers. Xiaohui felt like a prisoner, bounded by heavy brokerage fees and unfair labor conditions. When her second employer took away her phone and restricted her freedom, she felt she had no choice left. To reclaim her life, she chose to disappear and become an undocumented worker. One of the key triggers of SDG 10 is facility safe, regular, and responsible migration. However, as we've seen, the reality is often far from this goal. Migrant workers frequently face systemic inequality. They paid exorbitant fees that local workers don't. They lack the freedom to change jobs, and they are often excluded from the same legal protection we take for granted. When a worker like Xiaohui feels forced to run away, it's a sign that our system is failing to meet the promise of SDG 10. To truly reduce inequality, we must ensure that someone's nationality does not determine their level of human dignity.
Now, let's look at the root of the problem. Legal inequality. In Taiwan, over 200,000 domestic caregivers are legally invisible because they are excluded from the Labor Standard Act. This means they have no guaranteed minimum wage and, more importantly, no mandatory rest days. Furthermore, this legal gap leads to economic exploitation. Migrant workers must pay mandatory monthly service fees to agency. However, instead of protecting workers, these agencies often side with employers during dispute to protect their own business interests. However, the most silent barrier is information asymmetry. Because most legal documents are only in Chinese, workers often sign settlement agreements after accident without actually understanding what they are giving up. Their lack of language access is the direct barrier to justice.
Now, I'll explain why this is such a critical social problem: legal inequality, the service free trade, and the language barrier. First, there's a major issue with legal protection. In Taiwan, domestic workers like caregivers and housekeepers are not covered by Labor Standards Act. Their monthly salary is only around $20,000, which is way lower than the legal minimum for other jobs. Even worse, there's no legal limit on their work hours. This isn't just about a job, it's a totally lack of basic human dignity. Second is financial exploitation. Workers pay high monthly fee to agencies, expecting them to be fair. But in reality, agencies usually side with the bosses during conflicts. These workers pay a lot, yet they end up feeling alone and cheated. Finally, the language barrier. Most contracts are only in Chinese, so when accidents happen, many workers are forced to sign papers they don't understand. They end up losing their rights simply because they can't read the rules of the game.
Having understood the challenges these workers face, they focus on the solutions that can bring real change. First, we must provide legal protection by passing the Domestic Worker Protection Act. We can guarantee that caregivers are no longer left out of the law. They deserve basic rights like a minimum wage and mandatory rest day, just like any other worker. Second, we need to change the hiring system. If the government hires workers directly, we can remove the burden of advancing entrance fees. This ensures that the process is fair and the workers are not tricked by debt before they even start their jobs. Finally, we must remove the language barrier. All labor contracts and legal documents should be available in the worker's native language. When people can read and understand what they are signing, they are empowered to protect their own rights. To wrap up, achieving SDG 10 means ensuring that no one is left in the shadow. By closing legal gaps and removing language barriers, we protect not just migrant workers, but our shared human dignity. This concludes the report. Thank you.